I'm Dr. Brian Terry. I'd like to thank you guys for the opportunity to speak tonight. I'd like to tell you a little bit about myself. Originally, I'm not from a medical family. I'm third generation auto salvage. My grandparents worked in an auto salvage. My parents worked in an auto salvage. Then when I turned 13, I started working in the auto salvage. When I turned 16, I started driving the delivery truck. So my background is, I do have a blue-collar background. Now I'm in the white-collar world, so, expanding the demographics there. We also grew up with a farm as well, so, a lot of my district is rural in that respect as well. A couple things. I've had some other candidates ask me before if we have any hope. And I thought that was kind of an odd question. None of those candidates are in this room, by the way. And to me, if you have faith in people, you always have hope. And I've got a couple of things that have occurred to me in my life that gives me faith in people. April 19th, 1995, I was in my intern year assisting on a laparoscopic gallbladder. And that was when the Murrah bombing occurred. I was in Oklahoma City at the time. Lost two of my high school classmates. We ended up going down into the ER, setting up the triage, and I ended up taking care of some of the victims of that bombing. I did nothing heroic. The heroes were those that were on the scene, and those that were victims of that were the true heroes in that. But I did see a city and a group of people all come together and bond and bring the community back, and that gives you faith in people. Last May, like I said, I have a family farm, and this was back in Oklahoma, and the tornadoes that came through there, this was May 20th. If you look at the path of that tornado, when you look at the F5, that was our family farm. And everything was destroyed. Lost all animals, lost all the barns, every structure on the farm. Luckily, my mom had she would miss the farm, missed by about 15 minutes. She lived about 5 miles north of the farm. So luckily for her, she was not on the farm, but everything was destroyed. Since there was not a house on the farm, we really didn't get any help with any of the cleanup from the government. The city, the county, I called all them, called FEMA. Nobody really came out to help. In fact, my son was having surgery, and I was on the phone with the city at the time, and they said they had a special meeting about our farm and said because there was not a house out there, they could not help us. They said if we could drag all the debris, trucks and animals and whatever to the street, they would pick it up, but they wouldn't help otherwise. But then I said, how are we supposed to do that, drag all that debris? And they said, well, here's some charity groups and some churches. And so I'm thinking, there's a separation of church and state until the state needs the church. And as it turns out, though, we had an outpouring of help. And with that, seeing the community come together after that tornado and just, everybody coming in and helping with that, it gives you a sense of pride and gives you a sense of faith in people. So I do have faith in people, and I do have hope that we can make a change in government, and that's one of the reasons why I'm running. I do want to make an announcement before I get off the stage here. February 22nd, I'm hosting an event from 1 to 3 p.m. at Patterson Park, conference room B and C. It's a women's event, empowering women to get involved in the local, state, and national level. Some of the local women candidates are going to be able to set up a booth or a table and talk to other constituents or other voters. The featured speaker will be Cher Valenzuela. And for those of you that do not know who Cher is, 2012 at the Republican National Convention, there was a night where only women were speaking. And she happens to be one of those women. She ran for lieutenant governor of Delaware, and she is one of the leaders in what's called the Right Women Right Now campaign, or Right Women Right Now initiative. And what the Republican State Leadership Committee is doing is they're looking at how to broaden the base and broaden the appeal of the Republican Party by getting women involved in running for office and helping women in that respect. And she's one of the leaders in that. She's going to come down here to Murfreesboro and talk to women and how they can get involved in that event. Thank you very much.
Good evening. How's everybody doing tonight? Good. As Chris alluded to, every judge across the state of Tennessee is up for a re-election or election at the same time this year, and it gets a little confusing with all of us that are running. To sort of give you a little bit of a breakdown as far as the General Sessions judges are concerned, General Sessions Judge Parts 1 and 2 handle primarily criminal matters here in Rutherford County, and Part 3 handles primarily small claims civil matters and probate and estate matters. And I think another judicial candidate will be speaking here in a minute, and I want to go ahead on behalf of himself and I both share with you, when judicial candidates are given the opportunity to speak in public or in forums or in debates or anything like that, the judicial canons of ethics prevent us and say that we cannot say our opinions of how we would actually rule or feel about a particular issue that might come before a court. And we're not allowed to do that. Actually, we, as attorneys, can be disbarred as judicial candidates for or potentially disbarred for doing stating those kinds of opinions and being disqualified. But what we can do is tell you a little bit about ourselves and what we stand for as individuals. Again, my name is Toby Gilly, and I've been a practicing attorney here in Murfreesboro for going on 17 years now. I primarily represented individuals and corporations both. I represent companies from Nissan to NHC to State Farm, and then I've represented individuals who have had to go through divorce, probate matters, criminal matters, you name it. You're a small town attorney, you try to cover the gamut of what people's needs are. Also, over the last 14 years, I've been serving on the Murfreesboro City Council. I'm in the middle of my 4th term on the council. Aside from that, the last 6 years, I've been teaching at MTSU as an adjunct professor. I teach insurance law and commercial law in the spring and fall semesters, respectively. I'm also certified by the Tennessee Supreme Court as a professional mediator. And what that means is that when other folks that each have their own lawyers need to try to reach resolutions and settlements in their disputes, they come to me and have me try to help them work out what their differences are. I have also, on a number of occasions, been hired by the Rutherford County School Board to serve as the judge, if you will, or the hearing officer when teachers have been terminated and they have appealed that decision to try and get their jobs back, and that's part of the appeals process. So I have served in a judicial type capacity in that regard. I'm married. My wife, Laurie, is a 3rd generation Rutherford Countyan. I moved here from McMinnville in 1988 for school and never left. And we have 2 small children that are both in public schools. I've had a lot of folks talk about in the last few weeks that judges should not be affiliated with a political party one way or the other. And I hope all of you all feel like I do, that while judges are supposed to be unbiased and listen to the facts of each individual case and make their decisions, the party that they affiliate with and belong to goes a long way in helping you as a voter to understand where their moral compass comes from, where their sense of belonging and where their sense of thought process comes from. Every time that I've ever been in front of a jury in a jury trial, the first thing that the judge tells them, and if they don't, that we the lawyers tell them, is you as the finders of fact in the case, your job is to use your common sense to figure out what's the right thing to do here. Well, to me, being a part of the Republican Party lets you know what my version of the common sense is inside of me, as opposed to the party that shall not be named here. And I hope you all agree with that as well. Primary is in May, general election is in August, and I would certainly appreciate your votes. Thank you.
you, folks. My name's Moncrief. Yeah, that's my real name. Anyway, been here in Rutherford County since 2001. So have seen enormous growth, and I think that is a testimony to the people and the business acumen that here is in Rutherford County. The Chamber of Commerce, incidentally, says that Rutherford County is the third fastest growing county in the entire United States of America. So let's give ourselves a hand, right? Just a little about me. I'm originally from a little town called Gaston, South Carolina. A very small community. Generally, the term redneck comes to mind when you think of that particular area, but been here now for a number of years. Been a single dad for about 12 years, and actually what I've done for a living, basically I am a mild-mannered mortgage guy. So I do mortgages at a local bank here, community bank in town. I love that particular position. Never run for office at all. Basically, I have, probably like a lot of you, I have griped about it, I've moaned about what's going on, and just decided to finally do something about it. Some of you may know that Rutherford County is $463 million in debt. And I don't know if that number surprises anybody, but to me it's just kind of shocking. I typically live within my means, and I try to not go into debt. Understand there's certain things we've got to do, but I wonder sometimes, has there things that's been done where we could take a better look at it? I attended a commission meeting here a couple weeks ago just to kind of see what goes on, what is talked about, what is done. That particular night, there were 8 different things that were voted on. So we have 21 commissioners. That means that over the 8 votes that came up, there was a possibility of 168 votes. On that particular night, there was 167 yes votes and only 1 no. And I sit there at the commissioner meeting and I was thinking, nobody asked, what is this about? Nobody asked, should we table this until we know more about these particular situations? And nobody asked, who is sponsoring this? You know, where's the money go? I mean, nothing was asked at all. It was just kind of unanimous. It was just a vote. And maybe that's the way things are done. But just coming in, seeing it really for the first time, it just caused me to question, could we by chance say, hey, the $8 million that we just voted on, should we just unanimously vote on that kind of thing? So that's just me, but again, my name is Moncrief. Thank you guys for listening. I'm running for County Commissioner District 7. Hope to make a difference. That's my goal. Thank you so much.
Yeah.